Hey guys, how's it going? I am B Dogamus and welcome to another game review. This time around, I am going to be talking about a game that is quite aesthetically pleasing and in the same time has great gameplay as well. You know what it is, Cuphead. Now, this game has just completely taken the whole market by storm. It came out of pretty much nowhere back in 2013 and people praised it for its very pleasing aesthetics and its art style and how it mimics classic 1930s cartoons. Now, I don't say that lightly. These guys went all out to make this game as eye candy as possible. They even changed the regular way to make 2D art. They hand drew every single frame in this game that you see here. And because of this unique method that was only used back in the 1930s, they really captured the feel of those cartoons back then. They also managed to squeeze this eye candy into a very tense and rewarding gameplay system of boss rush. Now, I'm just gonna go right out in the gate and say it. This game is not for the faint of heart. It might look like it might look like a nice little family game that you can play casually and maybe have some fun with it. No, this game will brutalize you. This game does not forgive mistakes. It will take you a long time to beat this game. That being said, the game is not so unfair that it's not fun. The game can be unfair in times, but I found that to only be a few different bosses that you find throughout the game. No, the game is very fair in how it kills you. Almost every time you die, it will be because of your fault. You were in the wrong position, you didn't dash when you needed to, you weren't jumping at the right time. Again, being said, this game does not forgive mistakes. Now, the game essentially has three different kinds of levels. You have the run and gun stages, whenever you're running through a level, firing at enemies, trying to dodge everything that comes your way. You have the boss fights, where there's this big baddie that you have to shoot at a bunch until it dies. And they have a lot of health, trust me. And then you have the Manoloseums, sorry if I butchered that give you special powers when you beat them by using the parry mechanic. Now, the parry mechanic is really well done in this game. It shows how it's an easy game to pick up and play, but it's very hard to master with the way you use your upgrades, like the smoke bomb, and your timing on your parries to make sure that you get every ounce of damage on these bosses as fast as possible. And yes, there are upgrades. You can have all kinds of different weapons at your disposal to defeat these bosses, and you can even have different charms or different upgrades that you can have on your character to give them certain abilities or give them certain boosts in areas that you think you might not be very strong in. For instance, there is an upgrade that refills your super meter, which allows you to do special B attacks or special supers when you fill the whole cards up. There is an upgrade that allows the meter to just keep on refilling even if you're not shooting at any. The game gives you a lot of freedom in how you want to play it. Now, that being said, there aren't as many upgrades as I would have liked, but there's still enough for all kinds of different play styles with the upgrades that you have. Alright, now essentially this game is a giant boss rush. It's just boss after boss after boss, a little run and gun every now and then, but just bosses everywhere, and I absolutely love that. I don't know if this is just the first time I've branched out before, or if it's actually true, but I don't think I've ever seen a game that's pretty much just bosses run and gun style that this game is. This game scratched a certain itch that I didn't even know I had, and you might have that itch too. And these bosses are absolutely gorgeous to look at. Although it is pretty sad how you're usually more focused on the game than you are on the art style, which can be a downfall. But if you're watching someone else play, you can look at the boss's animation all you want. Speaking of watching someone else play, there is two-player in the game, and I think it's handled very well. That being said, 1 player and 2 player are 2 completely different modes. 1 player, the bosses are much easier, and that is to account for the extra person, of course. So no matter which mode you play in, you'll probably have the same amount of difficulty. Although in 2 player mode, you can revive each other when you die. You can't do that in single player mode. I think that they're both pretty equally difficult. Now, this game took me about 12 hours to complete, and that's because I am absolutely terrible at these kind of games. But I wanted to keep playing after that. I have clocked in about 27 hours so far in a 12-hour game. And that is from replaying the bosses, trying to get all A's on all of the bosses. And it's really, if you like that kind of competitive run and gun difficult kind of game, you're definitely going to like it here. The story is not really there, but you really don't need it to be there for this kind of game. I mean, it's there. You run into the devil's casino, you make a bet with him, and then you lose. He tells you to go get the souls of all of his debtors. Overall, this game is quite the treat. I absolutely loved every second of it. I might have been screaming, I might have been yelling at my computer because of all the rage this game brought me, but I still loved every friggin' second. These indie developers really poured out their hearts into a project, and it absolutely paid off. Alright, so you know how this works. This is basically a Steam review for me because this game is on Steam. I'm going to say either mixed, very positive, very negative, so-and-so, all the way to overwhelmingly and overwhelmingly negative. So I believe with this scale that I am currently holding in my hands, I am going to give Cuphead an overwhelmingly positive review. This game is an absolute treat to every single person who plays it. Some people might not like the 1930s style look just because they don't like those kind of cartoons, but I thought it was very interesting to see in a video game because there's not really anyone else I've seen do it right. The closest I've seen is Bendy and the Ink Machine, but it didn't really capture the tone like this game did. Alright, well thank you all so very much for watching. I am B Dogamus. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. If you want to see more of this content, leave a comment down below telling me so. Or if you want to say something mean to me, go ahead. Waste your time. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.